Or should I say good morning? Because it's morning here in the United Kingdom of Great England land, as Jeremy Clarkson would say it. Though it's not really a very good morning. It's rainy outside, and I had a bad night's sleep because I was dreaming about fucking centaurs. So, Centaur, by the way, was a British tank based off the Cromwell. Anyway, today is... well, I hesitate to call it a tank review, because the last review I did was utter awful bullshit. It was just rubbish, and I'm really an average player, so I can't really give a fair review, I suppose. That being said, though, I do want to look at a vehicle that is very close to my heart, the Type 97 Chiha. Japanese tank. Love this thing to bits. It is it's certainly deserving of its place. It's a fantastic little tank. Where do I start with this one? Well, right now we're seeing it in its elite form. Tier 3 elite medium tank. This is the Japanese version, by the way. There is a Chinese version that is right here, slightly brighter in colour. As you can see, it's a light tank, and we'll get to that later. So, Chiha. Chiha. This is technically Shinhoto Chiha. Let's show it to you when it looks stock. Yes, here it is. A little bit of a history that is already said here. Developed by Mitsubishi from 1935 through 1937, and it was mass-produced from 1938 through 1942. Now, if you're wondering what Type 97 means, that doesn't mean it's the 97th tank ever designed by Japan. It's actually based off the year of the Japanese calendar at that point. 1937 was the year 2597 on the Japanese calendar. Thus, Type 97. Thus, Type 2597. So this is how the Chiha used to look when it was brand new, and when it became clear that this awful little 6-pounder thing wasn't very good, they re-equipped it with this as the Shinhoto Chiha. This is the 47mm Type 1 gun. It does less damage, but it's better, just in every way, except damage, but not that it really could do a lot of much more damage in the first place. The Chiha was basically the backbone of the Japanese army. Most of the steel works were dedicated to making steel for the navy and the warships, which is why we hear so little about the Japanese tanks. In all honesty, they weren't really that good. You'd have a pretty hard time not penetrating it with a rifle. That being said, that was basically the same deal with the Russian BT series. Japanese tanks had awful armor and mostly bad guns, except for this thing, which wasn't bad. This was given this gun in response to the American M3 Lee, I believe. Not bad. Certainly this gun had the most success against the Lee. Thus it was the logical choice of course of action. So what are the stats on this tank? Well, it gets a Tier 8 radio with a signal range of 550 meters, but that's as standard. Tracks give it a maximum load of 18,000 kilos. An engine that has a 15% chance of fire and a power and horsepower of 240. And the gun has 81mm of penetration for AP, 122 for premium AP, and 25 for HE. Note, 2 types of armor piercing, Type 1 and Type 1 Tokuku, or however you pronounce that. And its damage is pretty bog standard, 70, 70, 90. Much better than a French 47mm, which would have something like 50mm of penetration and 50 damage. Those are not good guns. But this gun is fantastic, especially at this tier. It's certainly superior in some relations to the German 50mm. We'll get to that later. So a quick transition later. I've taken off all the equipment, taken brothers of arms off the crew. And talking about the crew, well, there's one thing important that you must take into account. Notice here that there's commander, gunner, driver and radio operator. The gunner also doubles as the loader, which is not ideal, because not only does he have to load the gun, he's got to aim it, blah blah blah, but that isn't really taken into account, I suppose, except for the fact this tank does not have a very good aim time. About 2.3 seconds, which at this tier isn't exactly stellar. 2.2-ish, it's not good. Also, if he gets taken out, not only do you have terrible accuracy, but you also lose some reload time. Not good. And another thing, the maximum amount of armor on this tank is 35mm, but that is only there. Basically the gun mantle, a tiny sliver. But there's not much that wouldn't be able to penetrate it anyway, so there's not much point on relying on it anyway. This tank cannot take a beating. It only has 240 hit points. Not exactly a tanking tank. That being said though, this is a pretty good vehicle. I've done well at it. I've done well in it in tier 5 battles, I've done well in it in tier 3 battles. It can prove frustrating thanks to its low armor, but it's the gun makes up for that. This tank is really just about the gun. So we can look at the elevation here, it's alright, and the depression, and look at that, depression is at an all-time low. Yes, very good depression. It is 15 degrees. Oh, wow, I thought it was 10. Shows you how little I'm prepared for this. So, without any of the ventilation or the onigiri or anything, or the brothers in arms, this tank does 1,460 damage per minute. That's not bad. At this tier, it's not bad at all. Module damage is 64, so if it hits a module, that's the damage it will do. Reload time, 2.87 seconds. Technically, I suppose it's more like 2.88. Rate of fire, 20.857 rounds per minute. You see this here, this is because I'm comparing this tank to the Chinese vehicle, which is almost exactly the same, save for the fact that this is a medium tank and this is a light tank, and this has 104 rounds per minute, 104 rounds in its magazine, whereas this only gets 100. I'm not quite sure how that happened. I really don't know. 4 rounds of different, 4 round difference, so there's not much in it that can really be said. This one will certainly run out of ammo a bit sooner, but it's just 4 rounds. It's not really gonna mean much. Maneuverability, accuracy without anything is 0.42, aim time 2.21. Chassis, the tank traverses at 32 degrees per second, and the turret traverses at about 31-32 degrees per second. It's pretty maneuverable. I'll have to give it that. Mobility, the specific power or power to rate ratio is 15.03 with nothing else on it. And I've no idea what terrain resistance. I suppose that's the amount of speed the tank loses when it's on this sort of stuff. So yeah, can't pivot on its axis, and pretty much average stuff. Getting points, as you already know. The tank tends to weigh about 16 16,000 kilograms, so it's just 16 tons, the proper weight of the vehicle. And this is whether this comes into play. The Japanese called the Chiha a medium tank because of the size of its gun, pretty much. 57mm, it was a medium tank by their standards. However, the Chinese thought differently. They saw this thing and thought, nope, it's too small, it's too light, that's a light tank. And that is accurately reflected. It's a light tank, as accurately reflected in real life, and this is a medium tank, as accurately reflected. One thing you may also notice, here's a side view of the Japanese Chiha, and here's a side view of the Chinese one. The Chinese one is taller. Yeah, it's bigger overall. I'm not sure if that's an error. Not sure which one is supposed to be the right not sure which one's the right size. It doesn't really matter. They're both pretty much exactly the same vehicle. So what I'm saying on the Japanese one pretty much applies here. Of course, there are a few differences. Both get the same matchmaking. Their matchmaking weight is 5. They see battle tiers 3 to 5, so they will see tier 5 battle maximum, such as against KV1s, and as low as Panzer 2s. Now here's something interesting. The price of the Japanese tank is 3,000 credits more expensive than the Chinese one. 45,000 credits versus 42,000. But the price of the shells is different. The Japanese one costs 20 credits per shell. The Chinese one, 36 credits per shell. I worked that out earlier, and it will cost 2,000 credits to fully reload a Japanese Chiha, and 3,744 to fully reload a Chinese one. I'm guessing is that the fact that the Chinese one costs a bit more is because it's Chinese. The Japanese rounds are more expensive to produce because they're not Chinese rounds, I guess. And the maximum repair cost is also oddly cheaper. Here on the Japanese one, it costs 1,637 credits to repair. Chinese one costs 1,824, 187 credits less. Not sure if that will ever really mean something, but it's good to know it costs less. And here is the scoutability. Now, this is where usually the difference between a light tank and a medium tank takes place. You can scout in both an Easy-8 Sherman, a T-37 light tank, but the T-37 is less likely to be spotted than the Easy-8. This, however, is rather strange. View range on both tanks is 330. Signal range is a 573 thanks to the commander bonus. Here's this funny thing though. Both have the same camouflage values while stationary and moving. Now usually a moving light tank keeps its camouflage factor, but here this medium tank has exactly the same. In fact, it has better camouflage in a way. Firing when stationary, this has a camouflage factor of 4.8% versus 4.6%. Now, I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's that little less likely to be spotted, I suppose. And it's the same here when firing and moving. 3.61% versus 3.46. All the soft stats. So, surely the Japanese one is a better vehicle. Well, who can really say? Let's plonk on some equipment, an enhanced gun laying drive, improved vents, and onigiri. Bump up the crew to brothers-in-arms, and let's do the same with the Chinese one. Improved combat rations, enhanced gun laying drive, improved vents, brothers-in-arms. switch back. And now, let's see, the tank, the Japanese one now weighs more, only 50 kilos, but that's because of the vents. If you saw, this gets class 2 ventilation because it's a medium tank. The other one, because it's a light, despite the fact it doesn't actually weigh any more, gets class 1, which is lighter. Therefore, the specific power goes down. Power to weight, no, 14.8 versus 14.84. Not much difference, other than that the Japanese one weighs a bit more. I nearly forgot to put this in, by the way. So, I said I was gonna tell you that how the 47mm compares quite favourably to the German 50mm. Well, I mean the 50mm, this one, the long L60, this one. And as we can see, the Chiha has more penetration. Now, this is one of the many failings of wargaming, because this German 50mm in real life had 87mm of penetration, not 67. I suppose they've done that for balance reasons, but it's really annoying. I wish they'd fix it, put it up to historical levels. But yeah, there are several things that the 50mm does have in advantage. It may have less penetration, but it does the same damage, and it reloads faster. 2.4 basically versus 2.8. So more damage per minute, higher rate of fire. The shell even travels a bit faster, which is why I really ask, how is it 81 here when that does a 67? Accuracy is also 0.38 as stock versus 0.42. It's a much better gun, pretty much. Okay, so the Japanese Chiha, despite its slightly more expensive cost, is cheaper to run. It's got slightly better camouflage values. It's smaller. Surely then this is a better vehicle, despite the 100 rounds. Well, I couldn't really tell you. They're both incredibly similar. If you prefer to use premium ammo on these tanks, do take care, because the premium ammo on the Japanese Chiha is different than the premium ammo on the Chinese Chiha. Because here we see that suddenly the penetration has taken a nosedive. Not by much. 122mm for the premium armor piercing, but 130 on the Chinese one? What does it get? It gets APCR. Not a lot of difference. I suppose that is actually Chinese there, TGR or something. But yeah, this is obviously a Chinese made round. Therefore you have to aim a bit further ahead with this weapon, with this ammunition, than with the APCR on the other one. But otherwise, this tank is incredibly good. But let's see, there's several other guns. Let's look at the 5.7cm, or as it's actually called, 57mm gun type 97. Let's switch the other one as well. So now we're using the horrible 6-pounder thing. 75 damage. It's alright, but the penetration for armor piercing is 29.6, basically 30mm of penetration. That is awful. And its heat ammo is not much better. It's only 55. Now, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that this tank was made for infantry support duty, and therefore this gun for infantry support. So I do not think that there was any sort of armor piercing or heat made with this tank. I don't know. I don't know. Please enlighten me. I don't know. I didn't think there was. But anyway, once again, with this exact gun, we have less rounds. 114 on the Japanese one, 6 more on the Chinese one, which is really, really strange. How? And besides, this round is bigger than a 47mm. How the hell do you get less 47mm rounds into the tank? It just doesn't make sense to me. Specific power is once again down, but it's up a bit because the gun doesn't weigh as much. And then we have the intermediate weapons. The Chinese one gets a Russian gun, the 45mm 20K, which I can assume was equipped to the tank because the Chinese ran out of Japanese ammo. That's what basically makes sense to me. Whilst the Japanese one gets a choice of 2 Japanese guns, 37mm Type 100 and 37mm Type 1. Now this gun, despite being a tier 3 gun, does not quite make sense. It is incredibly similar to the 20K, but it's just worse, basically. Penetration is basically 3mm less. Not much worse, it doesn't really matter. Damage is only 2 less. That does end up adding up. As you can see here, damage per minute on the Japanese one, 1,334.9. Basically 1,335. That's nearly 60 damage less than what the Chinese one can do with the 47mm. 45mm even. 45mm difference of 2 damage, but still gets a higher damage per minute. Also, because it's a 37mm, it does 50 module damage as opposed to 61 for the 45. Reload time is exactly the same for both tanks, 2 seconds, pretty much. Same as the rate of fire. Ammo capacity, as you can see, 150 because the rounds are 37mm as opposed to 45. But this gun, it has less shell velocity. The shell travels much slower, therefore requiring much more lead. But it does weigh a bit less. Accuracy is insane. Yes, these tanks have the same stuff. Vents, enhanced gun laying drive, and premium consumables, and brothers in arms. But still, the 37mm is 0.36 accuracy or so, and 1.2 second aiming time. And the aiming circle after the weapon is fired is better. It's smaller. So this gun does compare quite favourably despite being inferior. Now we look at the Type 1. Visually, both weapons are almost exactly the same. In fact, they are the same. Gunception. This time the weapon takes a massive leap up. 58mm of penetration as opposed to 51. That's incredible. Damage is up by 3, not much, but that once again puts the damage up by 89 points. That's incredible. Mortal damage, since it's still a 37mm, it's still down to 50 points, but that doesn't really matter. And thanks to, despite being exactly the same gun model, the weapon does better with the shell velocity, which means you don't have to lead as much anymore. Woohoo! And look at the accuracy. It gets the same aim time of 1.2 seconds. Same aiming circle after shot. But accuracy is through the roof. It's 0.25. 0.325, I mean. God, I wish it had 0.25. That would make it the most accurate gun in the game. But yeah, remembering that this is with Onigiri and Brothers in Arms. I think I've bantered on enough now. What you really came here to see is some games, and you're gonna get those. Both a Chinese Chiha, which is, despite being bigger and grayer, is still awesome, and a Japanese Chiha, despite being green. Japanese ground self-defense force green. I'll see you in game, chaps. Cue the games! Before we begin, I will point out one thing. Both of these videos have been downloaded off of YouTube because they are both from 8.11 or earlier, and I don't have a 8.11 build anymore, so I can't watch any 8.0 sort of replays. So that means there's already existing music on these tracks. Anyway, this here is Chiha on Yoravanka. It's an 8.9 replay. I'm platooned up with my little brother, who was in his Su-76. And the title of the video that this was originally uploaded as was How to Humiliate Tier 5 Tanks in a Chiha. Quite aptly named. Now, my Chinese Chiha has never really had a 100% crew. That explains the 2.95 second reload. It's not bad. It still got me through this game. Now, this is one of those special games. It's special for several reasons, but for one alone, and you'll see. Now, here I am. We're going up to the old hill. It's now a sort of village. You're probably looking at that Covenanter, wondering why the hell it's blue. That's St. Gloriana, I'll point out. At this point, I was using a lot of Girls and Panzer skins. And my Chiha is supposed to be from Chihatan Academy. Anyway, first two targets are lit up. An M7 medium tank. That horrible fucking thing. And one shot into him. Two shots, which bounced. Oh well. There goes another one. And this M7 is toast. There we go. First kill of the game. M3 Lee quickly move on, and he's dead. T28 and VK3001H are both obscured, can't shoot at them. And there's an M4. Lose sight of him, fire. He's gone. But here we go, another shot, and oh, he's dead. Oh well. At least got another shot into him. Done just over 300 damage. 350 damage-ish. One kill. Not bad, considering it was a tier 5. Gonna sit here for a little while, because I can. Camping. I was afraid to move up, because it, you know, tier 3 and a tier 5 battle, but here we go. And there's the next target, T28. Long range shot this, but it still hit. And fire again, missed. Oh well. Base under attack, it's being invaded, and guess who the invader is? It's this tank's worst nightmare, it's a KV-1. But, KV-1, the upper front plate has 75mm of armour, and this has 81mm of penetration. That being said though, accuracy, 0.44-ish, not good. Bounces every other shot, and audio went. Problem with the download, but it's back, here we go. Another shot into the KV-1, and he's dead. He didn't last long under that sustained fire. Here we go. 225 damage into the KV-1. And this team has still not lost a tank, but that could still change. Here we go. Let's move forward, move up. As the vanguard. And guess who we're going to bump into behind this lighthouse thingy, what's it? T40 and the best player on the enemy team, an M8A1. Now, remember, 8.9 replay had the old turret. This M8A1 doesn't stand a chance. He probably knows it's the beginning of the end. He's doing whatever damage he can, and he's gone. Second out, round 2. T40. This was a bad maneuver here. So he puts 93 damage into me. I do get a shot into him though, but he still took half of my health off with that one shot. Another shot into him, Covenanter rams him, but I get the kill. And there we go. Last piece of damage in the team. M41, M5 Stuart are the only tanks left on the on the enemy team, but they could still take out one of our tanks. Is it going to be? Is it going to be? Am I going to get another kill? Am I going to get 4 in this game? Hell, I could still get 5, but no, it's not to be. I stopped too late. Gun takes years to aim. Fire too late. M5 Stuart, out of range, he dies. There we go. So yes, that was an incredible rip-roaring game. One thing the battle results don't tell you though is that this was an ace tanker game. The second one I'd ever received in the 2597 Chiha, the Chinese one. That function was not introduced until 8.11 I think. And yeah, I certainly deserved it. This was almost certainly one of the best games I've ever had in a tier 3 tank. And look at that! That is how you humiliate tier 5 tanks in a Chiha. I'd done it once before, but this, I did it even better. The only person on the entire match who did over 1,000 damage. Not even close to 1,000 damage. No one got even 900. This is just amazing. Anyway, here's the next battle. And I don't really know if this one would really count. This replay comes from the early days of 8.10. Very early days, in fact, the very early hours. This was around about the 10 o'clock on the 23rd of December 2013, the day the Japanese tanks were released, and everyone was playing them. So here we are. This is my third battle in the Japanese Chiha, and everyone else is playing Kinis or Chihas or Chinis or just fucking shit things. Here we go. Let's move out. Already upgraded the crew to 100%, so it's 2.87 second reload time. 100%, 100 rounds. Here we go. And just camp. Why else is it called Campania? First target, BT7. Misjudged the shot, fire too early, but suddenly there's more targets, including, oh, Cruiser 4 and Kini. Here we go. Kini, 1 shot, and 2 shot, and he runs away because he's a coward. Coward, come here. Oh, I actually get a 3rd shot. Yay! Chiha, who is almost certainly stock, another shot. Unfortunately, next shot hits the building. Fuck. Oh well. Another shot, 60 damage. Could have killed him, but I was outdone. RNG, what you gonna do? Cruiser 1 stole the kill. Another Chiha. He's getting slaughtered. Another shot. Another shot. And then, oddly enough, I bounce. Fuck. And then, aim too early, but it tracks him. And I get the kill just before someone else. So that's good. That's really good. Scan the horizon. You know, always know there's someone gonna be there, but in this case there was not. Su-76, Kini. Su-76 goes down. Kini runs away just as I track him. Well, I track him just as he runs away. Chini, tier 2. This thing's predecessor. It's horrible. It's hopeless. It's rubbish. There's the Cruiser 4. He's got the Bofors gun, I believe. Or the pom-pom. Doesn't really matter. And another Chiha. Don't know what I was trying to achieve with that shot, hoping it would maybe arc over the horizon, but this thing, not a lot of accuracy. So now we're just sitting here on the cliff, awkwardly. But now, let's reverse, because there's no targets. Well, let's go find some targets. Yes, let's do that. In our awesome tank that has no armor. Awesome Tank of the Year award. Awesome Tank of the Year with no armor award. No, I fucked that up. Awesome Tank with no armor of the year award. Yes, because it's awesome. Fucking awesome. Accuracy on the move though is not awesome, because it should have hit that shell, but it didn't. But then again, he hits 1 hit out of 4. and it somehow bounces. Rather strange, that. And I don't know what I was trying to achieve. I mean, I was hoping for him to come out, but he wasn't coming out. And I don't know what I was doing here. I suppose I was just trying to get around. But I wasn't paying attention to where I was going. So I drive up this slope. And slide down. Whoops! And he spotted me. Got 2 hits into me, but this thing has awesome accuracy after the turret moves. I just don't understand how that should not have hit, but it did. Still, I've been taken down to just over half health, and there's an LTP up there. Yes, the learn to play. Get a shot into him, but he got a shot into me. And then he doesn't put any more shots into me. It's really strange. Why? Why not? I'm right here. No one else was penetrating, which is really strange. He was actually bouncing some shots there. Except against me, of course. Now, at this point, I thought that I wasn't going to get the last 2 kills or anything, so I decided to just fire a shot into the ground for celebration. And that ended up making me end the game on an uneven number, because the enemy Chiha comes along, he bonks a shot into me, but I've reloaded already, and he's dead. Enemy 81. And that, my friends, is 7 kills. And my 3rd game in the Japanese Chiha. Okay, so it was actually at 9 o'clock, but no real difference there. 3 games, and it's Mastery Badge already. Ace Tanker, as well as 7 kills. You get Top Gun, one of the few Top Guns I've ever received, and I treasure these. I treasure my Top Guns, because I rarely get them, because everyone else is a douchebag. They don't give them to me. They should. Oh god, this game just brings back so many happy memories. Memories. Because it was just so good. It's one of those games that you just look at and you just think, that just cannot have gone any better. Oh dear, that's not how it's supposed to go. Didn't get as much experience. In fact, I'm not even sure if I did. Let's just check. No, I got more experience. So yeah, that's more experience, because it's fighting against equal or lesser tanks. 4 more kills, as well as a bit more damage. That's really, really good. It just completely smashed everyone else. Made them look like amateurs, which they were. Just look at the amount of people on both teams who got 0 or little damage. Look at this! Yes, this is why I love the Chiha. It may not fire as fast as the German 50mm, but it has so much penetration. The damage is good. It is an incredibly good tank. It may not have a lot of armor. The armor is shit. But I can live with that. I love this little thing. And that, my friends, is the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've watched all the way to the end. If you haven't, I don't blame you. I'm boring. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. If there ever is another tank review, which I probably won't be, I'll see you then. Take care, folks, and good night. Cue the credits.